And the reason for that is that dating apps limit you to 6 photos and 3 answers. You gotta show off yourself in those photos or answers. And it doesn't matter if you have an amazing character, great sense of humor, or charisma. You cannot really signal that over a dating app profile. So our thought was that, like, if we give you the chance to post an actual plan, that actually is a better signal for your personality than your photos and your answers. Every dating advice boils down to you attract who you are. Who you are is determined by your day-to-day actions, what you want to do. So having that is actually like a great differentiation.
Welcome back to Alexa's Input AI, the podcast where we break down how real products are built, scaled, and actually used. Kaan Divitoğlu is the co-founder of Laila, a New York-based dating app trying to rethink online dating by starting with real plans instead of endless swiping. The product's premise is simple but interesting. Instead of matching and chatting forever, you post a date idea, people apply, and the product is designed to get you off the app and into the real world faster. Before Laila, Kaan worked at Deloitte and Nutanix, and he's been publicly vocal about frustration using social media platforms like TikTok with the incentives of traditional dating apps, and about using AI to reduce friction without removing human choice. In this episode, we'll talk about exactly what's broken in dating app products today, what metrics matter when your goal isn't engagement but real-world outcomes, and how you design a marketplace around something as unpredictable as human connection. Kaan, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Great to be here, Alexa.
I'm really excited to get into this because I think the data and idea around dating apps is so interesting. So please tell me, what was the moment when you stopped thinking dating apps are broken and started to see it as an opportunity to create something new?
Sure. So I've been using all these apps for like 12 years. I came to America for college in 2014, which was the year that Tinder released. I was one of the early adopters, one of the power users. And after that, I tried every app that you can imagine out there, just understanding their algorithms, trying to manipulate the algorithm, trying different like first messages to see what converts and everything. And I always had this like love and hate relationship with them. But the idea of like a better version never came to me up until when I started doing sales at Nutanix. I was one of the early employees. Company grew a lot, and I got put into sales where I was mainly working with social media companies. And coming from a consulting background, sales was a whole new approach for me. And we were working on like a funnel, right? Like you have cold outreach, incoming lead, email exchange, discovery call. It's a funnel, and you try to increase the conversion rate in each step. When I brought that perspective of online dating, I'm like, okay, this is a really similar funnel. Where are the bottlenecks? And 2 main bottlenecks were, one is that swipe to match. So for girls usually don't spend much time on the swipe screen because they get a lot of likes. So they spend most of their time reviewing likes. But for guys, an average guy needs to swipe 200 times to get 1 match, which is a really frustrating experience. And even after you match, for every user, only 4 to 5% of the matches you meet in real life. So, okay, there's a problem here. How can we fix this? But the idea didn't come to me up until a few years ago, Memorial Day, when I had 0 plans because, as you know, New York is super empty on long weekends. And my friends texted me, Kaan, we're going to Indochine for a dinner. The 3 of us were all bringing +1, bring a +1. I'm like, okay, like I have a few hours left. What am I going to do? I started texting all my Hinge matches, DMing the girls that I was talking on Instagram. And then while I was getting ready in the shower, I'm like, wish I could have just like posted this somewhere and people would apply to be my +1. And at that moment, everything came together. Like if we bring the date plan to the beginning, you differentiate yourself, that would increase your conversion rate to a match. Once you match, if you know what you're doing, that will increase the conversion rate to a date. So all these different thoughts came together and like while I was getting ready, which led to Laila.
I love that. I think some of the best ideas come in the shower. It seems like the same thing happened with you. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Shower thoughts are the best. So you decided just to start building it, and you don't have an engineering background. Did you start building out the idea, the conception? What was that next step like?
Yeah, so like you said, I didn't have any engineering background. I wasn't great with computers or technology. So I was like, okay, I just got to put what I have in mind into paper. So I did that. I started with some sketches, some like really basic wireframes. And after, okay, we got to put this into like actual design. So I went on LinkedIn and searched for UI designers in Turkey and found some people that I have mutual connections with and reached out, agreed on like a freelancer agreement, and we created the first mock-ups. After that, okay, we got to find engineers. Asked around, some friends recommended some people, found a dev shop to build the MVP, and found a co-founder. So it was like a really step-by-step process. I didn't know what I was doing, but it's just, led to this moment.
I love that. I think everyone's process is different. So it's always really interesting to me, the individual process is the way that it comes about. So I can see how you got the design and then the engineers, but can you talk to me about the step after that? How did you prove to people that this would be useful, and how did you find a co-founder?
So once I built the MVP, I was like, okay, now I know how the flow would work. So I just went out and like interviewed people. It's really easy to find people who are single and like use dating apps in New York. So every time that I went to a bar or anything, to a party, I would just interview people like, hey, show me your dating apps. Which ones are you using? What are your frustrations? And 9 out of 10 times, everyone complained about, okay, like this is just like matches are not resulting in anything. I get all these matches, I get a validation, doesn't turn into anything. So once I validated the pain point, I'm like, okay, what if there was a product like this where you would post what you want to do and people apply, or you see what other people want to do and you apply? And everyone was like, yeah, that's so simple, but such a great idea. I would use it, which kind of gave me the early validation to be like, okay, let's double down on this. Let's build an actual team. Let's raise some funding and build the product. Go out there and see how people are going to react.
So how did the funding go? Walk me through that.
So we raised funding pre-product, like after the MVP. MVP was, super scrappy. The design was not that great. But once I had that, I literally reached out to all the friends that I know, angel investors that I knew in my network, mostly in Turkey, some in America. Some I just met like over dinner parties. And, as I was talking and showed the mock-ups, or, oh, this is really interesting. And people that know that like I go out a lot. So they certainly saw like a founder market fit over there. And then we raised like a small angel, friends and family angel investor round pre-product.
That's interesting. And then how did you find that how many people did you have using it in that MVP stage? Were you just like going around talking to people?
So I created like a WhatsApp group with all my friends, around like 150 people. I'm like, guys, like I built this. Can you please check it out, try it, let me know your thoughts. Got great feedbacks. And after that, I just like, whenever I went out, I got people to download the test flight and test it and collected their feedback. And after I saw the great reaction, I'm like, okay, there's something here. We should properly build this one.
Well, what's some initial feedback that you got that you changed based off of?
So there were 2 things that I changed based off of.
Yeah, or just the main feedback that you got.
So main feedback, dating apps, especially in dating, like women and men are different, right? Like they act different, their expectations are different, their frustrations are different. For men, the biggest pain point that I heard, which was the case for me as well, was like, hey, like I'm great when I meet someone in real life, like I can talk, blah, 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 but like my dating app profile doesn't get many likes. And the reason for that is that dating apps limit you to 6 photos and 3 answers. Mm-hmm. You got to show off yourself in those photos or answers. And doesn't matter if you have an amazing character, great sense of humor or charisma. You cannot really signal that over a dating app profile. So our thought was that like, if we give you the chance to post an actual plan, that actually is a better signal for your personality than your photos and in your answers. Because like every dating advice boils down to you attract who you are, and who you are is determined by your day-to-day actions, what you want to do. So having that is actually like a great differentiation. So for men, that was the feedback, right? Like we want to differentiate ourselves. This will be a great way for me to get more attention, more interest. For women, it was the other side, because women don't need to show off themselves too much. They get a lot of likes. Their main problem is, one, we get all these matches, especially on these like exclusive dating apps like Raya. I don't know if you use Raya. Like it's thousands of matches that don't go anywhere. It's a validation tool, basically. And then the other one is like traditionally, it's always the men who organizes the first date, and it's always dinner or drinks. If they're lazy, it's a bar or restaurant a block away from their house. And the first 30 minutes of every first date is just like a job interview. Same questions, same things. And women that I talked to, I have a lot of girlfriends as well. They were all complaining that like, hey, it's always the same. There's nothing new. There's no fun dates. So it was just to give them like a chance to dictate what they want to do and attract guys that actually want to do the same thing. If you want to go to a museum, just say, I want to go to a museum. Who wants to apply and come with me? Or a comedy show, or go to a natural wine bar, whatever it is.
Do you see that people are adventurous with their ideas on these first dates, or are most people pretty common bar, restaurant?
So I've been a bit naive when I was starting this. I thought that people would be incredibly wholesome and they would post, like museums, workouts, hiking and stuff like that. And that's what women do. Like women really come up with creative date ideas like that. I'd love to see that. Men either are really, dinner or drinks, they don't put much effort. Or once they see that those simple date ideas don't get much traction, they go a bit overboard, which is basically like a dinner at Cipriani or Chez Margot or a table at a club and stuff like that to extra signal. For instance, date that got the most likes on Laila so far was Nick's courtside. 53 likes. So that honestly, like, it's the human nature. So I cannot say anything, but I was a bit naive to expect that people were going to go to like really wholesome dates, which, not the majority of dates that I see.
Do you have a date recommender, or do you just allow them to post whatever they want?
So that was the thing, right? Like when we first built the MVP, and then after we launched the product, I always like watch users try to come up with date ideas. Women are much better at that. They're much better. They know what they want. They're come up with ideas much faster. Men really struggle. They stress out, which is the case with like all these prompts and stuff like that, right? Like when I'm building a Hinge profile, like prompts just stress me out. I don't know what to answer. Men, they stress out for what they want to post. So we built like an AI dates recommendation, like a personalized, which basically you answer 6 questions. You also have like your go-to spots on your profile, and we analyze your activity, what kind of dates you send like to, what kind of dates you post. And based on that, like our AI recommends you ideas for you to post on your profile or propose to other people. And over there, we prioritize the date ideas from businesses that we partner with.
That's such a good idea. Okay, I want to get more into the metrics and signals. And one thing that I think is interesting about a dating app is it's made for you to get off of it, where other apps are made for you to stay on and have more engagement, for example, Instagram. So talk to me a little bit about how you measure success when your product is explicitly trying to get people to leave the app.
Yeah. So we have 2 metrics that we look at, right? One is dates posted. Like what percentage of users are posting dates and how frequently they're posting dates, because dates is our liquidity. You can think this, we're more similar to a social media app in that sense than to a dating app, because in a dating app, the supply is profiles. For us, the supply inside is the date posted. And just like Twitter, right? Like on Twitter, probably around 5 to 10% of the users actually create content, and the remaining 90% are more passive. They just consume content. Same with Laila, right? At a given time, it's usually like 10% to 12% of users have active dates plans on their profiles. And then the rest are just like searching and sending applications and stuff like that. Dates posting is one of the most important metrics that we look at. And the other one is what percentage of the matches lead to a date, because our whole hypothesis is based on that. When you match with someone, when the chat opens, if you already have a date plan, you're more likely to go to that date, meet in real life. And that assumption was actually based on my own personal experience. After thousands of matches across all dating apps, I realized that the best first message a guy can send is, you seem cool, let's skip the small talk and meet on Thursday at Bar Paslina for a drink. So those 2 metrics has been our North Star so far.
So who is posting date ideas more often, men or women?
I would say it's like an even split. Interestingly, I was expecting much more men than post, but of course, with the changing gender dynamics as well, like women are definitely much more proactive in the dating scene nowadays, like especially the ones that like know what they want to do. They don't have much of like they don't feel refrained to go out and say, this is what I want to do. Who wants to take me to this date? So to my surprise, it's more of an even split.
And on average, how many applicants per date do you get? Is that also even among men and women?
So more than half of the dates posted get at least one like. Of course, this figure is higher for a woman. When a woman posts a date idea, it always gets a like. Right?
Interesting.
Like, that's just how it is. For men, it really depends on the date that they post. If they post, let's walk around, and if they're not super attractive, they don't get a date. But if they post like a really cool date idea, they get a lot of attention, even though they wouldn't have been as successful on another dating app that limits them to their photos and their prompts. So for men, it's around, I would say 40% of the dates that they post get at least one like, which is a really high conversion rate if you compare it to other dating apps. Rather than swiping 200 times on another dating app, just post a plan and let people apply. There's a 40% chance someone will apply, especially if you have a good date idea.
Yeah.
For women, it's much higher.
And what's a metric that you look at every day to see how things are going?
Of course, like the dates that have been posted, like how many likes are they getting? And when a date happens, 48 hours after the date, we ask them how did the date go. So I look at those feedback surveys as well, because that triggers our algorithm too, right? Like if they're not a good match. Also, if one of the sides ghost or no show, we flag them after 2 flags, email and all of those. We want accountability on this app. Like we built this to get people out into real life. So we don't want them to just like match and not do anything.
Yeah, it's so interesting, especially about the ghosting. Do you find that people reply to that feedback a lot about how the date went?
Not that much. Most of them, I would say, like around 40%.
Yeah.
Again, I would say responds to the feedback survey that we send. Remaining usually just closes off. And the people who respond are either like went great or it was like a no-show ghosting. If it was like just a normal one, they skip it. So that we see that as a signal as well.
What do you think differentiates you from all the other dating apps out now? Because I think you came out with it at a time where there are quite a few other ones too. So this frustration must have been pretty common. Yeah.
So we actually like don't position ourselves really like a dating app, more like a first date app or a +1 marketplace. And the reason for that is that the dating app lingo has always been like, we're going to find your soulmate. We're going to find the love of your life. I'm incredibly pessimistic about that. Like, I don't believe that any algorithm, any AI can predict compatibility or predict love. Couple of reasons for that, right? Like, especially now with all these AI matchmaker apps, AI being used in algorithms, which has been a trend for a while now, but they all rely on self-serve data. Like, what are you looking for? Who are you? What kind of person you would like? But like the problem is that we're so outward oriented nowadays is that we don't know who we are. We don't know what we want. And even though like two people can be compatible, a dating app cannot do anything after they match, right? Like, once you go to the dates, there can be an amazing chemistry, but the guy might, be distracted by other situationships, or a girl might be having so many DMs in her inbox that she gets distracted. So that's more of a coaching business. Like what we can do, but a dating app can promise you is to get you onto the first date. After that, it's all on you. So we don't promise love. We don't promise like super compatibility. We just say that like we're a first date app. We'll get you out on the date that you will enjoy. After that's all on you. We're not here to coach you or anything.
I like that because I think that's a bit realistic too. Like just helping you get out there and start meeting people. You mentioned it's not just, having the users, but also matching the users with the right timing and the right intent. I wonder, what have you learned about design when you're designing something that's based on something as emotional and variable as dating?
So a couple of things, right? Like first, women have much more nuanced expectation than men. And that's really evident on the time spent on a given profile. And men spends like 5, 6 seconds on a profile if she's good looking. Yes. For women, though, when they see a guy's profile, the photo is the first screener, right? Like they check the photo. If he passes that screen, then scroll down. Okay, what is his job? What school did he go to? We don't have height. That's just a meeting. I'm not a tall guy, so I didn't want height on my own app.
I love that.
And I think that's just like a really bad way of filtering people.
Yeah, I agree.
So women spend much more time on profiles, so their expectations are much more nuanced.
That's an interesting metric, that the time spent on profile is so different for men versus women.
Yeah.
Are there any other surprising metrics that you've seen?
Like, I wouldn't say metrics, but like behavior wise, like I was really surprised that women were like so willing and inclined to post dates. That was not my expectation. I was expecting it would be more like heavily male dominated, which was not the case.
Yeah.
And then the other one is, like I mentioned, like I was expecting people to be more wholesome, but we get all these like dates posted. Some woman posts like, take me to shopping to Louis Vuitton, or, or something like that.
All right. Well, I mean, at least they're putting out there what they want, I guess.
They're getting applications for it. So I guess it's working for them.
I guess so. I totally forgot what I was going to say, because I was like, I didn't expect people to be asking that. And for the people that are listening, just so they know, because there are a lot of different types of dating apps. This is a mostly heterosexual, traditional man-woman dating app, right?
Not really, because like the marketing should be different, right? Like, and since we're a really early stage startup, we mostly focus on heterosexual relationships.
Okay.
I know there's a huge value for the LGBTQ plus community as well. I have this friend who is a gay guy in New York, and we did like a full-on hour of session, like a 3-hour session with him. He walked me through all the apps that he uses, like all the grinders, all the like web-based one and everything. And he's such an amazing guy, right? Like I love him. And what he said is that like, Kaan, like it's so easy for me to find a guy for the night or for whatever fun it is. But he is a big opera lover. He loves to go to the opera, and he's not able to find a guy to go to the opera with. So he was like, this is the perfect app for it. And I think there's like a huge opportunity there. It's just we didn't have the bandwidth because, like the budget, the team members and everything to craft that messaging, to deploy those marketing campaigns. But down the line, certainly we're going to double down on that.
Yeah, I think it's just important to call out, because when we talk about the metrics that you're seeing, we're talking about it in the lens of mostly heterosexual relationships of men.
For now, yes.
Yeah. So along with something you mentioned earlier, that we don't know ourselves, or sometimes we don't even know what we want, I think it's interesting, the idea of posting a few pictures and a few prompts of yourself, and the idea of you that you're putting out there that you want people to grab onto, which might not be really who you are and might not lead to the type of dates that you maybe even want. So with that, have you seen maybe even a difference in like the feedback that you get told versus what you actually see on the app, like what people want and what they say they want?
Yeah, of course. Like everyone is looking for the perfect love, like a wholesome thing. But at the end of the day, especially in New York, that's, first of all, I don't know if it's really hard to find. It's just you're so overwired and overwhelmed and get distracted by all these shiny things, is that you don't really double down on it, like everyone says that they want to be in a relationship, but I really, really doubt that. So I don't take users' statements on the face value.
Do you recommend people to others or dates to others based on what they say they like?
Yeah, so that's how our like AI works as well, right? Like on our profiles, when you're building a Laila profile, you add at least 4 photos. 4 to 6 photos, your basic information like school, job, blah, 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 where are you from? And then rather than prompts, we ask you 4 different things, which is basically your favorite restaurant, what you want to eat there, favorite music venue, the genre that you want to listen to, museum or gallery, and then the workout spot. Because like I said, like I think you attract who you are, and who you are is determined by your day-to-day actions, your routines. That's what defines who you are. So it's actually what you do rather than what you answer to the prompts. So I think that's a better signal of, what you want to do. And there's actually an interesting article the other day. I don't know if it was the New Yorker or the Mag or something about the restaurant gap in dating in New York. So for instance, like there's a girl that wants to go to Carbone, but you're a guy that wants to hang out in a East Village bar. That's a gap that maybe you're not able to, bridge.
So instead of flag gap, it's a restaurant gap.
It's a restaurant gap. There are multiple gaps in New York. There's a Borough gap, there's a work hour gap. Like there's someone might be an influencer, freelancer. The other one is working a corporate job until midnight. Yeah, it's a tough city to be in a relationship, but not date, but be in a relationship.
Yeah, I do find so you have so many people who are driven and ambitious that dating probably isn't hard, but finding someone is harder, right?
Like, I feel like it really depends because like dating it's a super different experience for different people, right? It's like, when you look at it as a marketplace. Right now, one of the problems that we see, especially with the whole social media and dating apps, is that, strictly speaking about heterosexual relationships, is around 70% of women want top 10% of guy, right? That top 10% of guy tend to be either have really good jobs, making good money, or they have a trust fund, like they have access to the best places. They get a lot of demand. Literally, they have no problem with finding a potential partner. But the problem happens is that since they get a lot of demand, they don't settle down because they always feel like there's something better. But that's the sad truth, right?
Yeah.
The problem is that the bottom 20% of men, 30% of men, they really don't get any attention online because they're not able to signal to potential mates that they can provide, right? Or they're not as handsome, blah, blah, blah. So they tend to lose hope and they just like opt out from the dating pool, which is, it's always been the reality like that, but I think it's pretty amplified. But I think the main problem is that middle 50% of guys, because they're amazing guys, right? Like they're really relationship worthy, really wholesome, really proper guys. But just because they don't make huge amounts of money, because they don't have access to all these like great things, or maybe they're below 6 feet, they just get disregarded on the apps. And what happens is that when most of the women go after top 10% of men, top 10% of men don't settle down because, they just have a lot of options and they have a huge appetite. Women think that, all the guys are like that, which is not the case.
Yeah, there's a big societal thing going on with this right now about dating, and a lot of people have a lot of comments on it. And I think it's fairly large feedback that like dating apps suck generally, it's becoming more and more and more of a feedback that people are getting. And I like one thing that you mentioned before that you did is that you judge the dates that you're going to recommend based off of their personal daily habits rather than what they say they like, which is what we were just discussing about the difference there too. Because maybe they don't even know that they'll like a guy who's what you would consider less than the 10% or whatever, but they should give him a chance because he's probably a good guy.
Exactly. Like that, I hear so many of my girlfriends that are in like amazing relationships right now. It's just like, Kaan, if I met him on an app, I would have swiped left. Like, I'm sure you heard.
Yeah. I have said that about everyone I've ever liked, I think. That, like, if I probably saw them on a dating app, I'd swipe left, which is an interesting gap for you to try to close, right? Because, like you said, the way people portray themselves and the way they evaluate themselves online is so different than what you actually want in real life, in reality.
And like, don't get me wrong. I think like just meet cute out in the wild. Like that's the best way. Like if you're able to do that, that's amazing. But the problem is that like, that's not happening that often anymore. Back in the day, like my mom and dad, my dad was my mom's boss and he asked her out like 3 times before she accepted on a date. Like imagine that in the current workplace, escalated the HR probably. And like, we're getting lonelier. We don't have that tight-knit friendship communities. We're not getting introduced to people through our friends anymore. And the biggest problem is that, like, especially for the younger generation, for the guys, they're a bit afraid of approaching women out in the wild. One of the reasons is that, like, they're afraid of rejection, right? That's not a great feeling. And then the other one is it's just like the social skill decay, what I say. because like when I was growing up, like I feel so lucky because I was born in 95. My childhood, we didn't have phones, social media. So when I was a kid, I was always on the streets with my friends, getting into fights, getting rejected by blah, blah, blah. So I kind of developed that like social muscle. But nowadays, kids, I feel like younger generations spend so much time on digital is that they don't sharpen those social skills. So they're really intimidated to go up to someone.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of interesting parts there, like loneliness epidemic and social media, and also just like seeing a bunch of like women or men online and how that affects your brain and the way that you think about a partner and what you should do or don't want, and then how that like keeps us from also interacting in person as much too. I think it's all this the big storm leading up to wanting more connection and community. And I do think in general, New York is a very individualistic city. It's all about ambition and getting ahead and working hard. And I think in any way that you can create community, it's great because at the end of the day, I think that's what it's about is like your family, your friends, the community that you build.
Exactly. Like I always tell myself that like the only thing that's left from the past is our memories and photos, of course, that you take. And when you look at it, like close your eyes and like think about the memories, it always involves people that you like. So those are the things that stick.
Exactly. So talk to me a little bit more about your use of AI and Laila. How has that evolved and where are you seeing that it's useful and where are you wanting to grow it?
Or so like it's been super popular for the past few years, right? And there are multiple use cases for AI within the online dating space. The first one was the text helpers, like the Riz, right? That basically it's like a keyboard API analyzes or you take a screenshot and just gives you suggestions to text back. People created like bots on it that sends messages, talks to hundreds of matches at the same time. And
Oh my God.
it's not great. Yeah, no, that I'm fully against. Like, I don't think AI should replace the human interaction part, whether
Yeah.
it's online or not. Like that's I'm totally opposite against. The other way AI has been used has been to improve the matching algorithm, right? Like, and how the improved matching algorithm, like every dating app asks you, like, what are you looking for? Which ethnicity are you looking for? What is the age range? Height, blah, blah, blah. So back in the day, it was like a multi-select questionnaire. Now, the only difference is that it's an open-ended text. So you can basically feed the algorithm whatever you want to say. But again, it comes to the same problem, which is it's self-serve. And there's been this app called Gigi, AI Matchmaker. It was the first AI matchmaking company in France. She transitioned to a new project right now, moved away from dating, but I've been talking to her and just, following her tweets. One thing that she said was incredibly interesting. She was talking about this like self-reporting issue and how people misreport because people are just a bit biased about themselves and delusional in a bad way sometimes. I don't know. But she was saying that one question that really revealed a person's what they look for in a relationship is that like, tell me about your ex. Was that question that apparently made good difference. So I'm sure there are some questions like that. So far, I haven't seen anything that works really well. So AI usage in matchmaking in the algorithm, I think it certainly would work. In our case, like we're in the early stages, right? Like we have around 12,000 users in New York, which means the pool is not super large for us to really go heavy-handed on the algorithm. So what we do is that we don't want AI to replace the human connection side, human interaction side. We want AI to come up with fun date ideas for you. We try to keep it more onto that side rather than putting into the matching or like interaction side. We want AI to help you to come up with the best idea for you to get into the real life and do.
Okay, so you're in New York and Istanbul right now, correct?
Yes.
Are those the only two places where Laila's available?
Yes, but we've been getting a lot of downloads from other cities as well, like LA, Miami, even though we haven't been advertising. It's just, I think, goes from word of mouth, London. So now we're actually releasing a new version where you will be able to select different cities and you will be able to, for instance, you're traveling to London next week. You can just select London and then you can post a date over there or to Miami or to Los Angeles. So we're slowly opening it up to beyond those cities as well.
Nice. And what are your next steps or things you're looking forward to feature-wise for that?
So a couple of things right now, like we really, especially like now that we're doing the fundraising, it's been around like 8 months, 9 months that we're like fully going for this. We realized that the dating app messaging really doesn't stick with people anymore, right? For the users, like everyone's incredibly frustrated. People don't want to use another dating app. And we always try to brand ourselves, give our messaging as a first date app to differentiate ourselves better than a dating app. And now with AI, anyone can build an app, right? The entry to the market is incredibly, there's a new dating app Instagram page popping up on my algorithm every day. So we're kind of transitioning ourselves to more like a +1 marketplace, which is basically a bidding on dates to apply. So kind of what Kalshi and Polymarket did to betting, how they rebranded as prediction market. We want to kind of rebrand this to a +1 marketplace. So that's not on the feature side. It's just going to be more like a front-end changes, some design changes. It's going to look like a stock market. But on the feature side, what I think the big thing that we're working on right now is I believe that the future doesn't involve apps. Most of the apps are going to be obsolete besides the games and stuff like that, mobile games. And the reason for that is that, like, I'm sure you use Cloud Cowork and stuff like that. Like, as a non-technical person, Cloud Cowork has been my best friend for the past few weeks. And I don't make any actions on internet anymore. I just tell Cloud Code and it goes and makes a reservation, blah, blah, blah. I think that's the future, right? Like, that will make most of the apps not obsolete, like Resi, OpenTable, booking sites. We're not going to use them directly. Our agents are going to use them. So They're going to be serving to the agents. So what we're trying to do, what we're doing right now is that we're building a channel agnostic network for Laila. What that means is we're building the website of Laila website, and we're going to have a centralized AI connected to it. So you're going to be able to interact with Laila through any channel that you want. You will be able to text Laila on WhatsApp saying, hey, I want to go to a comedy show on Thursday. Find me a +1. Laila is going to give you options. Okay, there's a comedy seller session, and you say, okay, post it. Once you post it, we're going to know who might be interested in it. We're going to send a WhatsApp message to, let's say, 10 people saying, hey, Alexa wants to go to the States. What do you think? You click on it, Safari pop-up opens up. You see Alexa's profile. You text back, yeah, I'm down. And then if you both agree, we're going to put you in a WhatsApp channel, which means we're going to become more like a network than just an app, because I don't want people to constantly get into the app.
Yeah, I think the app part of it is also what's draining. Like, the messaging is definitely probably very draining, but also I think we're getting app fatigue. And I think that move that you're talking about making strategically is extremely smart. It makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, no, even I feel like my whole life is dating right now, so which I'm not really happy.
You use Laila?
I went on 2 dates. Like I try not to use it to maximize chances of other guys on the app.
You're trying to help the community. I see.
I'm good at like meeting people in real life, so I don't really need to use it. And, like I just use it and every date that I went to from Laila, I went on 2 dates. They've been both like user interviews, so it's just a bit different.
Yeah, you probably can help yourself there. Right? So how did you like the app?
Yeah. No, they have been like really interesting dates, honestly. But yeah, so that's our plan. Like, I feel nauseous opening dating apps anymore. So I think having a network and just like, much lightweighted, just texting through WhatsApp and just finding our +1 through WhatsApp or iMessage, a much of like a pleasant experience.
Yeah. So you also have had events, right? And I know you also do some things on social media.
Yeah. So one of the things about dating apps is basically when you go on it, you gotta see good profiles. If you don't see good profiles, you churn, right? So to kickstart that marketplace engine, you gotta first focus on like high quality people. And to acquire high quality people, you gotta go really targeted in your user acquisition strategy. And the best way to do that is either ambassadors. You identify a couple of like key players with good networks to bring their network into the platform, or you do events, because events, first, you can curate the list. You're providing a fun experience to people. You can attract good people to that event. And second, for people that come there, the event acts like a proxy. Okay, if these people are at this event, it means they're going to be in the app as well. So we relied heavily on the events and ambassador program to jumpstart our marketplace, whatever you want to say, which worked out really well. And a couple of learnings that we had with events that when we first started, we were organizing every event ourselves. But after the third one, we realized that around like more than half of the people that were coming were already existing members. So the goal, like the benefit of the app turned out to be strengthening the community rather than acquiring new users. So once we realized that, we started partnering with like social clubs and like other hosts and stuff like that to tap into their communities as well. Like that's one of the biggest challenges of events is that if you always do it in-house, like you always recycle the same people. And at that point, it doesn't yield great ROI for acquisition. So you gotta like be able to find new people, new networks to tap into, which basically leads to partnerships. And then as for social media, we live in a world, it's just like everyone spends so much time on their phones, on TikTok, on Instagram. You just gotta be there. And if you're an early stage startup with really low budgets, you gotta be the creator yourself, which I learned with time. My Instagram was private. I hated creating content, but once I started this, I'm like, okay, I guess I gotta do this. So I've been creating a lot of videos, which I think I'm getting better at. I don't know, you tell me.
No, it's good. What have you learned throughout this video creation process? I'm sure you've experimented with different mediums. Like I know you do interviews, for example, and also there's different platforms. What have you learned about the different formats and the different platforms as you've made them?
Wow. I learned a lot. I don't know where to start. One, like couple of things is that interestingly, videos that I shoot outside get more views than I shoot at home.
Like more like low effort ones where you just
low effort one. I just like the other things like when I'm sitting down versus when I'm walking ones get more views. So I do walking. The ones that I give to my video editor to edit well, they don't perform that well when I'm just like it's like a calling on FaceTime and just like talking to the camera and organically, authentically, they tend to perform well.
So
I got better at hooks and stuff like that. I got to pick up the phone or there needs to be some kind of a movement, like a visual hook or like a audio hook and all of those. Like there's just so many nuances to it. Same with interviews, right? Like we went through a lot of like different editing experiments and stuff like that. Yeah. And as for like the platforms, for some reason, we're much better on Instagram than we're on TikTok. I'm incredibly frustrated with TikTok. Like our UGC creators are really good on TikTok while our branded content is not performing really well. And that's how TikTok is, right? Like TikTok wants you to be more authentic, more low effort, blah, 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 while Instagram is a bit more curated in that sense. So our branded content performs much better on Instagram compared to TikTok. And then our UGC performs better on TikTok than on Instagram.
When you say UGC, you mean?
User-generated content. So basically, we recruited 4 different creators. They each have different TikTok accounts. We created new ones for them. You warm it up. There's all this like playbook on how to warm up an algorithm, how to let the algorithm know where you live, which topics you're interested in, so that when you start posting, it directs that to the right people and stuff. So there are a lot of nuances, and like I'm still not super great at it, but we're improving.
Do you find that promoting it works well on either platform, or is it better to just post daily, for example?
Like the frequency is incredibly important, right? Like you got to post daily. If you're able to post twice a day, that's amazing. In my case, I'm not able to do that because I have all these other things to do, but our creators do it. So posting frequency is incredibly important.
Sometimes people promote, but I know that every platform has a different promotion algorithm, and sometimes it's worth it, sometimes it's not. I was wondering if you found differences, if you tried any promotions, if you found any differences there.
Yeah. So what we realize is that for organic content, right? Like if you're not putting money behind it to give it as ads, it shouldn't seem like an ad. Like it should seem incredibly organic. It should be like, oh, I just discovered this app. And sometimes we don't even give the app name in the video.
Wow.
Because the community happens in the comments. What we do is that we create a video. One of our creators creates a video. I found this first date, went on this amazing date, no mentioning of Laila. And then another creator comments, oh, what is this app? Then we reveal Laila in the comments. Because comment section is where the community is built. So
Wow. And that creates more
Content.
engagement as well. I think these metrics are so interesting because every platform, like you said, values different things in the algorithm. And I'm also surprised. I would have thought the interview format would have done better on TikTok.
Yeah, so the interview as well, right? Like algorithms work like this. It's a step by step. So when you post a video on TikTok, it shows the 100 people. If the engagements are good, engagement meaning like the most important thing is share. If people are sharing that video with their friends, especially on Instagram, because like Instagram's CEO always gives us like podcasts and stuff like that. One thing he mentions is that like the messages feature of Instagram is incredibly important. So when you see a funny video, send it to your group chat and on Instagram, the algorithm rewards that video. They want it to be shared. Second one is comment because it's community building. Third one is like repost, then like, and then of course the watch time, like how much people are watching. Like if 80% of people are passing the 3-second mark, then the algorithm understands, okay, this is an engaging content. So there are a lot of like different coefficients over there that goes in it. And if TikTok sees first 100 views, great engagement. Now let's show it to 200 more. Great, let's show it 1,000 more. And then it goes on like that. And it's the same algorithm. Now it's the same algorithm with most of the apps.
It's so interesting. Like the way I behave on different apps is a little bit different. Like on Reels, I'm always sending Reels in the DMs to my friends. On Instagram, I probably won't like it, but on TikTok, I will like it. And that's so interesting how they have probably like similar but slightly different benchmarks for understanding what's doing well.
Exactly. And TikTok is not like TikTok's chat feature is not that developed, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, I use Instagram DMs as like a normal way of communicating
Yeah.
with my friends. Like TikTok, I never talk to anyone on TikTok chat.
Yeah, I am the same way. That's so interesting. I feel like we could have done a whole podcast about marketing on social media.
Yeah, no, that's
okay.
nowadays.
I know. I'm going to ask you some slightly rapid fire questions.
Shoot it.
Are you ready? Okay. Harder problem, getting someone on a first date or second date?
Second date.
What's one feature you killed that you thought would work?
Sharing your date on your Instagram story.
Shame.
We're not ready for that yet.
What's something users do that still doesn't make sense to you?
It makes sense to me, but like take me to shopping. It's just that I'm really not, doesn't sit well with me, but I'm okay with it at this point.
The biggest red flag you've seen in user behavior data?
It's probably the same thing. Yeah, it's the expensive dates getting much more like than actual like creative and wholesome dates.
So is dating getting better or worse right now?
Much worse.
What's one dating trend that people are underestimating?
Activity-based dates.
What changed most about how you think about relationships after building this?
I became incredibly pessimistic about relationships.
Okay, what are one or more common ways that you use AI in your daily life?
In my daily life, Cloud Cowork is my best friend. I do everything with that. PRDs. Oh, PRDs. I was terrible at PRDs. Now Cloud Cowork just...
What's a PRD?
Product requirement document.
Okay.
So whenever I want a new feature, like I used to text my developers just to give them the whole details. And now I just like use, I think it's Whisper Flow to just like, talk to Claude and then creates the whole PRD document in such a detailed way that just makes my life much easier.
I think the voice to text is really nice with AI. Like I don't like texting them in the chat GPT or anything a lot. Are there any ways that you use it randomly outside of work?
Right now, I'm trying to sell some stuff that, like a code that's small to me. So it's really helped me. Like I added Chrome extension of Claude, opened Facebook, and then Claude just went through the Facebook marketplace, found comparative products, gave me a price range of what I should post it, and then it posted itself.
That's a great example. I like that. I also have a pickle rental store, and I will post the pictures and the brand or whatever and have AI generate the title, the description, and how much I should post it for. That's one really good thing because otherwise it takes a lot of time. And the last one is, what's one company, project, or product doing something technically impressive right now?
I don't know about the technically. Like, I'm not a super technical person. I'm more like a social sciences kind of guy. But I really like this new app called Corner app. It's like a Gen Z Google Maps kind of thing.
Hmm.
It has this like social element to it as well. Because like, for instance, I was in Spain and I was in Valencia a few weeks ago. Never been. And like, I Googled, the restaurants in Valencia, and it's always like ads and stuff like that. It's not really great. When I open the app, you actually see like the people, like actual cool people's comments. You can see what other places they like to go. Much better rating system. So I really like that. Really, really like what they're doing over there. I really love their like branding, their design, their language, their messaging. I think it's a really, really fun app.
That's great. I've heard of a few people building things like this. I think it's something that's really neat. I'm actually surprised that Google hasn't taken more advantage of this now.
Yeah, like it's just like such a saturated market.
Yeah.
Right? The friendship aspect of it as well. Like there are all these like new friendship apps, running things with friends and stuff like that. It's a really saturated market. I don't know if there's going to be a clear winner over there. I always thought that like in those kinds of things, Meta has such a big advantage that if they want to actually do it right, they would do it right. Because
I don't understand why. Even Google Maps, I don't know. I don't understand why they don't have that, because still looking up stuff is like not that easy.
Same with AI matchmaking, right? If someone's going to crack AI matchmaking, it's going to be Meta because the data.
They had a dating part in Facebook.
Yeah, but it's Facebook.
So I know, I think it's just the wrong market. Like no one wants to get on Facebook for that. Like, come on.
Exactly. Like, I think that's what's missing out there. Like, I think Meta would be great at like AI matchmaking in the sense like, hey, I want like a blonde influencer girl, blah, 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 surfaces, profiles. It's hypothetically.
I think of a hard part with all of these things, like AI needs a lot of context about you that, like, again, you're not going to give it directly. You don't want to spend time giving it to be able to do really well. And if it has it, it can. But like, I think also people are like hesitant to give it access. I mean, some people aren't, but they should be hesitant to give it access to all this data. But the more data it has, the better it will get. It's just getting that data so hard.
Exactly. Like it shouldn't be a friction for the user, right?
Yeah.
It should be natural.
Yeah.
Which is tough, honestly.
Yeah, because there's some other sites I logged into, and then it's like immediately like 1,000 questions, and I was like, no, I'm not doing this right now. I'll look at it later. Anyways, thank you for coming on. Do you have any last words or advice for our listeners?
Any advice on the dating side? Just, go out there and get rejected.
Business advice? Maybe that's also good business advice.
That's a really, business advice as well. What I truly, truly believe in life is that you got to maximize the surface area of luck. And how you maximize the surface area of luck is basically just going out and like doing things and taking risks. And, you're going to get rejected. I get rejected every day from investors, from users, blah, blah. And you build a tough skin, but also
resilient.
Yeah, resilience. And, you get rejected 90 times, 91st time, something amazing happens. So you gotta take risks, get out there and, just embrace the cringe and embarrassment and,
You gotta embrace the cringe. Yeah, I definitely embrace the cringe all the time by listening to my voice on a podcast or posting myself on TikTok. Yeah, that's good advice. I also think something that stuck with me, I was a TikTok creator. I think she had a goal of getting rejected like 500 times this year or something. And it's crazy how many things she didn't get rejected from, because she's like, I'll just apply to this as part of the goal. I think the point of it is you'll be surprised how many things you can do if you try. Even though she still got like a lot of rejections, she got a lot of really cool acceptances too. So I like the point you make there. Go out, create more opportunity, and
exactly
create more rejections.
Us around and find out.
Nice. Well, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for listening to Alexa's Input AI. And if you want to follow along with my new episodes, writing, content, everything I'm building, you can find me at alexagriffith.com, on Substack, on YouTube, or wherever you listen to podcasts. If you enjoy this conversation, it would mean a lot if you subscribed, shared this episode with a friend, left a quick rating or a comment to help more people to discover the show and keep these conversations going. Again, I'm really grateful you're here. This podcast started as a side project for me a few years ago, and every listener who reaches out or keeps coming back reminds me exactly why I love doing this and I love putting so much time into it. I hope this episode gave you something to think about, something to talk about. So always stay curious, stay grounded, and I hope to see you next time. Thank you for your support.